Hello internet, hello and welcome to this video. Today we are gonna have the third episode of Chatting with the Pros. This time around it's gonna be Style from QsQ. Yet again, NoVa got me this guy to come on the interview, and let's just get right into it. So, who are you?
Hello everyone, I'm Cristiano Noviello, also known as Style. I'm 15 years old, I live in Belgium, and I'm currently playing the mid/solo role for QsQ.
Okay, now last week we had NoVa on the show, and NoVa is one of those like age-old characters on the scene. He always was on the scene, and everybody knows him. He played in pretty much every big tournament there was, and he has just been on the scene since the scene exists. Now you are different. You are very new, and you started with QsQ. QsQ is your first team, right?
QsQ is my first team, yeah.
Yeah. So how did that came to be? Like, when did you start playing? When did you like get into the whole competitive thing? Just give me like a short rundown of that.
Well, I started playing Heroes of Nurtra like really early. I never really got into the comp scene till very late, like once NoVa started the QsQ project and made a thread that people could try out to actually try and get into his team. I was actually like kind of giving it a shot, but I didn't expect myself to get in there. Well, as you can see, I surprised myself.
Okay, so it was all that QsQ project, which turned out to be really good for the scene. Like, I think you got two teams in a very high bracket in the Hon Tour right now.
I don't know about the other team, to be honest. I only know about us.
Okay, so it's okay then. Now, NoVa introduced you to me as like the best mid player there is at the moment. He told me that you beat Moonmender, that you beat B-Kid, and are just overall a great mid. Now let's talk about the mid lane then. So what do you think determines a good mid hero? Like, what does a hero have to be a good mid hero?
Well, that's quite hard to say. Like, it depends if you're like if you pick something like a bubbles or anything. You just need a hero that's like really level dependent and can like just raid mid game, just pure on the levels. Like, if you do, if you go bubbles or anything like that, and you win mid lane, you can just spank the other lane so hard. Like, I think that's the main thing, and I don't know. I think being able to catch the runes before your opponent also has something to do with it. Like, at least I like heroes like Bubbles, Middle, like over kind of much anything, because they can dominate their lane and they can just get the runes really fast.
Okay, so you like the blink mechanic.
Yeah.
Now, something else I'm interested in is how do you choose which hero to play in the mid in this game? Like, I asked you about your picking progress, and you told me that your whole team does the picking together. It's not just NoVa choosing the heroes. But I'm interested in how do you choose which hero to send mid? Like, there are many heroes in the game that are considered to be viable mid heroes. You can send pretty much any hero mid in any like strange scenario, and he's maybe gonna work somehow. But how do you choose which of those heroes you send actually mid? Like, Witch Slayer was for the longest time considered to be a support hero, and then suddenly out of nowhere, players thought, hey, let's send this guy mid. He went mid, started destroying everybody. How does that happen? Like, which hero do you choose for the mid?
Well, usually it's kind of much that NoVa brings up new ideas. He like have a list of mid heroes just usually NoVa just gives me a list of heroes he wants to play when he sees the opponent's picks, and then I just get to choose between one of those.
Also, it's personal preference then.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, now I did the same thing with NoVa last time. So, how about you try explaining just your average Joe, your average player, how to win the mid lane?
Well, as soon as the laning phase starts, I usually just check the starting items of my opponent immediately, and I kind of much look at like the biggest part of where I look at is his regen items. If I see that I have more regen items than him, I usually just go straight out to Raz and like play really aggressive, because if you like dominate him like really early in the mid phase, and he can't like really do anything back to you, and he has to waste all his regen, you can't get close to your creeps, because then you can just Raz him more, or like eventually even kill him. So you will always get your bottle faster than your mid opponent if you can make use of that. And like if you get the bottle first before your mid opponent and get like the first the first rune, I think kind of much like. I think you kind of much won mid already.
But if it's all down to the regeneration, why don't I just get like, I don't know, 18 runes of the Blight and go into the mid with that? You are not going to have more regeneration than that.
No, but you also need some stats, of course. Like, if you don't have any stats, you can still easily arrest you, outlast hit you, and all that sort of stuff. And I usually get like a lot of stat items and very few regen, for the reason that I have a lot of HP and like a pretty big mana pool, and I can just spam my spells really early for creep kills plus a lot of harassment without him being like able to do anything back to me.
Okay. So now how do I choose which to pick? Because you just said two things that kind of go against each other. You first of all said if you have more regeneration than your enemy, you just play very aggressively, and if you invest into stat items instead of regeneration, you will also play very aggressively. So is it all down to just playing aggressively overall, or?
I wouldn't say it's down to playing aggressive, I think it's just playing smart. I think to win middle lane you need to outsmart your opponent. But usually, like nowadays, there's not really a lot of 1v1s middle anymore. It's usually like 2v2 or 2v1 even. So, like, it's usually either short lane versus suicide, or the other way around, or like 1v2 middle or 2v2 middle.
Yeah, I have noticed that as well. The mid lane is no longer what it used to be, which is sad.
Suicide lane.
I like that. I like that 1v1 style in the mid. I enjoyed that quite a lot. Okay, and is there like any rule you could give to any player while playing, let's not even say mid, just a one-on-one scenario? Just a one-on-one scenario, which one rule would you cut it down to if we are gonna talk how to win a one-on-one lane?
Don't overplay.
Just play safe.
Mhm.
Okay.
I can't do it myself. Like, I'm a really greedy person myself, but the reason if I would lose mid, or why I would lose mid, is because I overplay.
Yeah. Okay then. Now, I know this doesn't happen a lot in competitive play, but I'm just interested, like, for the pub players amongst us, which I guess is 99% of my viewer base and everyone's viewer base. So, if I'm gonna be mid in a one-on-one scenario, how do I decide when to gank? Like, while playing, I often notice that if a lane is failing their lane, they just start calling out mid for not ganking bottom. Now, how do I decide when to actually do that?
Well, usually you go gank when you get a lucky rune, like a haste or an invis, and you see that like if you get the top rune and it's an invis or a haste, and like their top lane is really pushed up, and you can just like go behind them with the haste or invis, you usually have a like sure double tap. So that's where I think that you should have, like, where you should gank. Another thing is, like, I don't really like to leave my middle lane as long as I can farm there or like gain anything there, because if you just randomly decide like, okay, I'm just gonna gank top or bottom now, and I don't have any rune, and I have red boots or phase boots, and you have a ward, and you like waste all your time to run to the like bottom lane, you notice like, oh shit, they have a ward, and then you have to run back to middle to get some farm up. But if you do that like one or two times, your mid opponent has like recovered so well, or like maybe even out farmed you and all that, that you can't even win middle anymore. So you should just gank whenever you have a like lucky rune, or either till you like finish the mid laning phase, like by pushing his star or anything like that.
Okay, everybody, you heard it here first. It's not your mid's job to win you the lane. Thank you. Okay. Now, I watched a game of you playing Dr. Repulsor, and you were in a lane with a glacier supporting you against the bubbles. And you got a very unusual item on that Doctor, Alchemist Bones, which is something we do not see very often. Now, I just want to just about this one game. Those Acme spawns, were they a troll pick or was that seriously like your choice of item in that scenario?
It was serious because I think if you can get your alchemy spawns like below 6 or 7 minutes, and you can like save up 1900 gold without having to take any risk, like being like, oh shit, they can gank me now, or like I will lose my my gold. I think it's always good to go alchemist bones, unlike not all heroes, but most of them. Like I like the item a lot. If I could like, I would get it every time if I could get it. Like it's so strong.
So on pretty much any hero that needs a farm, or who do you restrict it on?
Well, from my role, I would get it on almost everybody. Like not a Pebbles or anything like that, because he needs a PK or like a Tundra. Like that would be stupid. But heroes like Doctor is a pretty like carry-ish hero. Tremble, maybe no. Tremble is quite. You could get it if you get it like really early, but that's like the same thing. You can get a mock with him really early as well. Like Sand Rate and all those, but that's kind of much Nox's part of the game.
Okay. Now, you already touched on this. I just want to quickly go into this. And maybe you're not even the right guy for this, but Active Spawns and Rune X, those two are widely considered to be the farming items. Like, you get it on heroes that don't have a farming mechanism built in. And these usually are your first items, let's say on, I don't know, a Swift Blade to go all crazy. We haven't seen that hero in ages. But maybe a Kronos. Kronos, he has been getting picked up a bit recently. And Acme Spawns and Rune X. Now, there's always the big question. You already answered Acme Spawns. If you can save up 1900 gold without having to worry about losing it, you try to get them. But Rune X. When do I get Rune X? Is that item even viable anymore? We barely see it.
I think it's viable. I think it will always be somewhat viable. And like heroes like Magebane and those, Magebane, it's really good to get a helm on Magebane as well, like helm into like Geomater's Bane or anything like that. But I usually always preferred Cleaver on those heroes, just to farm like twice as fast. I don't know, and the regen damage you gain from it is also like really strong for most melee carries. So, like, the only thing with Rune X is that if you get gimped early game, you will have a like really late cleaver, and then I would always like prefer the helm on Magebane over the cleaver, and just go into straight Geomater's Bane.
So it's the same thing with the Acme Spawns. You just try to get it as fast as possible. Like if you can get it without risking your life, it's fine. If not, then rather get
you can
else.
die once. Like once won't really hurt a rune cleaver that much as an alchemist bones, but yeah, it's kind of much the same.
Okay, no, this is just something I myself am interested in. Kronos, I just thought of this. What do you think of the hero? Because I really love that guy. I actually think he's amazing. I think he's gonna get picked up soon? A lot. And but yes, the Horn Tour is starting. We are getting to the higher brackets, and I'm gonna call it right now. Kronos is gonna be that one hero nobody expects. No, am I talking bullshit, or is there actually something to it?
Like, I'm really bad at making predictions, and I don't want to like say any predictions because I know that I will put myself to shame because I know that I will be wrong. But basically, I love Kronos. Like I can't even play it myself. I really suck at it. I can't farm with him, but I love the hero. And
that's good enough for me. I don't even care about it anymore. I'm gonna call it. Kronos is gonna be the next big hero. I love that guy. He's amazing. Okay, let's get to something else. So there have been 5 new items. The Lightbrand, Searing Light, Frozen Light, Dawnbringer, and Sacrificial Stone. We are gonna leave out the Grimoire of Power right here. So let's just get into Sacrificial Stone first, because you can already use that in tournament mode. So what do you think of that?
Sacrificial Stone is like really strong and really underrated at the moment, because I think Grave Locket itself is like kind of must, unlike mid heroes, especially because of the like cheap price and the huge amount of stats you get from it. and like the sacrificial stone is like slightly stronger than plated creeps even. Like if you can just upgrade the grave locket or sacrificial stone for like barely no gold, and I think it's like really amazingly strong.
Do you think it's gonna be one of those items we see on every team? Because they are just like the astrolabe is one of those. We got the barrier idol. Usually you see one of those on every team. And gonna be grave locket one of those? Not grave locket. Sacrificial
Well,
stone.
I don't know if every team will have one, but I think every team should have one. But I don't know if we will see it on every team.
Okay. No light brand, Zero Light, Frozen Light, Dawnbringer. Give me your opinion. I love the Dawnbringer.
I love the light brand a lot because it's like it gives you a lot of regen. It makes you farm faster for like kind of much any hero because the damage over time like is a splash. It goes on like all the creeps next to the one you hit, and it's not even an attack modifier. That's the interesting part. Like the light brand itself is not an attack modifier, so you can just have the light brand early game and just farm really well with it, and then just late game you make a Dawnbringer out of it. I think Dawnbringer is like it's really expensive, but you can get it with like you can even start off with a Frostburn and get other items, and then like later in the game you're like, oh, I got no more room for like any other item, so I just get Dawnbringer. But I think it's even like better to get it like really early because the damage over time damage is like quite sick.
Okay. Lightbrand, do you think it's gonna be one of those Ekam Spawns Rune X style items then? It's gonna be one of the
I don't think it's gonna be a
items?
farming item. I think it's gonna be kind of much a mix. Like the damage you get from it is also really good. I think it's like I think the light brand itself is gonna be a like really strong item. But I don't really think it's gonna be used for farming like mainly, but part of it of course.
Already thinking about any heroes you would get it on. Like, I personally love it on
I
Soul
go on
Stealer.
Soul Serum pub games. Nox likes it on Forsaken a lot because of the split fire and both the light brand. So like, yeah, you clean creep waves in like less than 3 or 5 seconds. For myself, I haven't really like figured out a lot of heroes yet, but I think kind of much any ranged rage carry that like could fit with it.
Okay. Now let's move on to heroes. So, you chose Elonia and Kinesis. These two are some you will talk about now. Elonia and Kinesis, we have seen both of them actually in a few games competitively. Kinesis in more, and Kinesis has been very successful actually. So let's start with him. What do you think about?
I think Kinesis is this hero who has like a really strong laning presence because he can just spam the spell that he can dust creeps on like your enemy's face all the time. And like after level 6, the ultimate, the burst damage of the hero is quite sick. Like the potential burst of that hero is like really insane. And like then you got the first spell. I don't really know the exact damage, but it's like kind of much. You can even use it as a storm spirit for your team because you can even decide when he lands and all that stuff. But it's also like really good for your enemy. Like you can like throw him up in the air when he's like near your tower, and then your team can pour it in because it's like a 2 or 2.5 second duration. I'm not like exactly sure how long, but I think the hero Kinesis itself is like really strong. And Elonia's a hero that is really squishy, and he can have a like really strong laning phase. He can really dominate the laning phase, but he can also like just get gimped so hard. If that hero gets gimped early game or like loses the laning phase, he becomes weaker and weaker every now and like every minute to game. But he's slow, like he's slowing. Can't even get into my words right now. Like the amount of slow he gets, or like the hero can get on like another hero, is like really sick. It's like they can barely move if you just spam your spells on them.
Yeah, I have seen that. I also think the ultimate is kind of crazy. I don't even properly understand how it works. I just
Well,
see
the
it
ultimate,
destroy
like,
teams.
you just click on a like random direction, like, and then there will be like this weird bolt. I don't know what it's called. It will just like kind of much fly forwards, and it will like do a like 50 magic damage for like every shard, like to everything it hits, and it's like I think it goes for 3 or 4. No, wait, let me. I think it's 2 seconds or 3 seconds, and it shoots like a shard every 0 point several seconds. And then every shard is like, I think 30, 40, or 50 magic damage. And then like every time a hero is close to a shard, he will take that amount of magic damage. But if you use a stun target, he can easily take like up to like a shit ton of magic damage. Like you can even kill him with just that spell.
Yeah, I have seen that happen. Okay, so we are getting towards the end of this. Now, this is something I came up with while watching Honcast. So, a team was going for Kongor level 1. And while that happened, 12 was talking, like 12 Amador said 2 things. First one being that usually if a team gets Kongor level 1 actually done, they win. And secondly, that usually usually every team can do it. Like, they can somehow manage to kill Kongor. They maybe need a gauntlet in there, maybe a pyromancer, but they can do it. Now, do you think that Kongor level 1 is actually just straight up cheese? Or does it have any, like, place? Can this actually be a viable strategy?
I don't think it's cheese. I really don't think it's cheese, because you can always scout it. Like if the enemy gets Kongor and you don't notice it, or you didn't have any idea, I think it's like the opponent's fault. I don't think it's a cheese at all. The thing is, I don't know if every team can do it. Like probably like 90% of the teams like you see nowadays are competitive are like can do it. But, like there's always something that can do it faster than that. I don't think. As I said, I really don't think it has anything to do with cheese. Like just if the opponent doesn't see it coming, then it's his fault for not scouting with the monkey, or like not like just I don't know, like you can even run into that, like into the river, and like see all of them running into the pit. So
Okay, so why do you think we don't see it more often then? Like you just said, you have to scout it with the courier, but now let's be honest right here. I have not seen a lot of teams scout Kongor with their courier. And to be honest, if you see an enemy team that just has a pyromancer in there, or a white soul, you instantly think, hey, they might be going Kongor. Or are you like, well, nothing special there, and suddenly you see it popping up, Franken Kongor has been slain.
Well, I think most teams don't do it because it's a risk. Like, of course, there's a chance that your opponents are like, they probably won't do it, so let's not scout it, we just scout another area, because we don't want to waste our time with that. But if they scout it, and you like, it's like 10 seconds before the creep spawn, or like I'm just saying something, and Kongor is like not nearly that, and like you see them all coming, you're kind of screwed. Because you probably, like, most of you need to rag up, you need to run to your lanes, and then you didn't gain anything out of it, except that your opponents got like free experience and gold.
Okay. Now let's get to the last question. Who is the strongest hero in the game? In both the competitive scene
On the
and
pub
in the pub scene.
Strongest hero in the pub scene. I would say like Monkey King or something, yeah. I think Monkey King is like pure cheese in public games. And in competitive, wow, there's a lot of heroes. I would probably say Tundra or Keeper.
Okay.
Well,
Any
Tundra because
reason?
he has a flying ward, a second spell.
Yeah, I guess that's
Keeper
obvious. But why Keeper?
Go anywhere. He can go jungle, he can go suicide, and like on suicide,
And cut. I'm so sorry, but this episode was plagued by technical difficulties. I had to cut early on as well, just because of that. Let me just paraphrase what he said after the Keeper thingy. Basically, Keeper has his Nature's Veil, which just provides him with huge versatility. You can send him into the suicide lane and can't win against it because of the ridiculous armor and HP buff it gives. Additionally, you can jungle with him, and overall the ultimate is amazing. Just a great hero. I sadly don't have his shoutouts now, and yeah, so I'm sorry for this. I don't know why it went wrong. I think it had something to do with my hard drive space. I'm definitely gonna take care that this is not gonna happen again. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video anyways. And if you did, please leave a like. Don't forget to submit your top fail of the week to honfails@gmx.net. And just a fun teaser for tomorrow. I'm gonna 1v1 style. See ya next time.